Welcome back everyone. Today we'll be talking about remakes and remasters, so let's pray that I don't accidentally mix the two up at some point because people seem to take that personally. Remakes and remasters. Some people love them, some people hate them, and there's a few reasons why. Some believe classic games don't need to be remade and should be left untouched because they're perfect the way they are. Others worry about the games being ruined, and there are many ways that can happen, whether it's because they change or remove certain things that people liked about the original, or they add things that people don't like to the remake. Some people think they're a waste of time and money and don't want to buy a game again if they've already played the original. Also, depending on the series, certain fans might want a brand new entry instead of a remake/remaster. Take Crash Bandicoot for example. Crash Mine Over Mutant released in 2008, and then it was completely silent until 2017 when they came out with the Insane Trilogy, a remaster of the first 3 games. Then 2 years later they come out with Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled, the remake of Crash Team Racing. They were both fantastic, definitely my preferred way of playing those games, but a lot of Crash fans wanted something brand new. At that point it had been over a decade since the last brand new mainline Crash game, and well, they got what they wanted the following year. There are just a few reasons why people dislike remakes and remasters. Personally, I'm a big fan of them. I love seeing my favourite games get a fresh coat of paint. It's what they deserve, and it helps them live on for even longer. It's not just about the updated graphics though. Remaking a game gives them the chance to build upon the original and make it even better than it was back then. I love the original CTR, but with everything Nitro Fueled added, I would take that over the original any day. My first experience with a remake/remaster was Combat Evolved Halo Anniversary. Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary. This is a remake of the game that started it all, and it was released on its 10th anniversary in 2011. I'm really hoping they celebrate Halo Anniversary's 10th anniversary with Halo Anniversary later this year. I was 12 at the time, and I still remember how I felt when I saw the announcement. Combat Evolved was not only the first Halo game that I ever played, but the first video game that I ever played in general. I grew up playing this, and it's still my favourite Halo game to date. Probably because I did grow up with it, but I still have so much fun revisiting it today. I've completed this game on Lasso difficulty because I had nothing else to do in the campaign. Also, I still have the tutorial videos that I made when I was younger, showing the non-existent viewers how to perform different glitches.
Today, I'm doing a free gun glitch on Halo 1 first level. Just follow me until you get to the point I say.
My 12-year-old self thought that this was the first time a game was being remade. As I grew up and started to see it happen with other titles, I always thought Halo started the trend when actually it had been happening for a very long time. But even though it wasn't the first to do it like I once thought, it was one of the few remakes that did something a bit different from the others. You had the ability to switch between the new and the original graphics at any given time with the push of a button. This fascinated me when I was younger. It's such a good feature for a remake to have, and it gives you a very convenient way of playing the original game. Since it was originally released on the Xbox 360, you did have to wait a few seconds each time you switched the graphics, but when the Master Chief Collection came out 3 years later, the switch between graphics was instant. There's one thing you can do in this version that you can't do in the Master Chief Collection though, and that's swapping between the new and the old main menu. That's something this version has over the MCC, since none of the original menus were in the MCC, and I miss them. I really do miss them. But this graphic switching feature always comes to mind when a game gets remade. I always imagine what it would be like if it could do the same thing. However, did the new look of the game impress people? I have no idea, but it impressed me. The updated visuals are stunning, but I feel like they fail to capture the atmosphere of certain levels. Don't get me wrong, this is beautiful, but I think it takes away some of the creepiness of the original. Also, this is the mission where you first encounter the Flood, and you technically meet them before they officially make an appearance halfway into the mission. At the beginning, as you're walking through the forest, you can see a Flood form in the far distance, but as you get closer, it runs off into the fog, and you're left there thinking, oh shit. Knowing that there was something else here with me, other than the Covenant, scared the crap out of me when I was younger. In the updated visuals, you can get a clear view of what you're looking at, and even if you don't know what it is at that point, it's just not as mysterious. The new look of the level is great, it just loses a bit of that creepy aura. The good news is, I only feel that way about 2 levels, 343 Guilty Spark and the Library, which is another flood-infested creepy mission. Aside from those two, I think they did a great job at capturing the same vibe. The direct comparison that you have available makes you appreciate the new graphics even more than you would if that feature wasn't present. You get to see every little detail change wherever you are in the level. There's one slight annoyance that you might experience when playing in the anniversary graphics though. You might shoot an enemy while hiding behind cover, but it won't hit the enemy, it'll actually just hit the thing that you're hiding behind. This happens because the anniversary and the classic graphics don't always match up, and if you switch back to the old ones you'll find that, yep, you were shooting at the wall. It doesn't happen too often, so it's not much of a problem. There are a couple new additions to the campaign. You can find terminals and skulls, but only in the remastered graphics, otherwise they don't show up. If you find a skull, it just means that you can then use that skull in the future. Skulls alter the gameplay and change certain things. Some of them make it harder for you by getting rid of checkpoints, for example. Others make grunts explode with confetti if you get a headshot. Finding a terminal will play a short video that reveals a bit of Halo backstory. Overall, the campaign side of the game was fantastic, not perfect by any means, but for 11-year-old me, this was a gift sent from heaven. Oh, and they also used the original loading screen, so bonus points for that. The multiplayer, however, I was a bit disappointed with, because it wasn't what I expected or wanted. Thankfully, what I did want from it came true when the Master Chief Collection came out, the original Combat Evolved multiplayer maps. In Combat Evolved Anniversary, they just made the Combat Evolved maps in Halo Reach. And I don't mean it's just using the alt style or anything, I mean it opens up Halo Reach when you go onto the multiplayer. But the only thing you have access to are the Anniversary playlists, which just include Combat Evolved map remakes. The maps look nice and they are fun to play on, but this is Halo Reach, not Combat Evolved. And this is Combat Evolved Anniversary. There's no Halo Combat Evolved Magnum in it because you have to use the Reach weapons. This Magnum is so iconic that they added it as a separate weapon in Halo 5. It isn't Combat Evolved without this. I think they knew that as well because they changed the Reach Magnum to a 3 headshot kill, which was what the CE Magnum was known for. Nice detail that I appreciate, but it's still not the same. The maps being remade in Reach also meant that they had to replace the ladders with grav lifts, and I still think that's the reason I can't sleep at night. Also, because the multiplayer was just Halo Reach, it meant that it used Halo Reach's armor customization as well. Look, I love Reach's customization, but I wanted the true CE color changing experience. Thank you, Master Chief Collection. You have done so much for me. Clearly their primary focus for this anniversary was the campaign, and it makes sense, but I was hoping we'd get the classic multiplayer on top of it. Overall, despite the problems that I had with this game, I still spent tens or more likely hundreds of hours playing it. These days there isn't much of a reason to revisit this. You can pick up the MCC on the Xbox One, Series X and PC, which is not only better than the 360 version, but comes with the other Halo games as well. It's quite cheap for a collection of games and it's definitely worth it. Either way, thank you for watching, and let's just hope that Halo Anniversary comes out later this year.